people always keep saying, I want cars back in The Sims 5. The Sims 5 must have cars, blah, blah, blah. I think EA have got the point that we want cars back in The Sims 5. Like, we couldn't have made it any clearer. But what I want to specify is that The Sims 5 can't basically just be The Sims 3. We can't just have a graphically updated version of The Sims 3. Like, I want more detail than we've ever had before in The Sims 5. So for cars, I want to be able to get a driving license, and I want to see my teen Sims actually having to learn to drive, or adult Sims or elder Sims actually learning how to drive before they can have a car. It's much more realistic. Also, I want traits, for example, if there was a daring trait, meaning that your Sims are more likely to speed and get a speeding ticket or have to pay parking fines. I want Sims with evil traits to be able to make fraudulent car insurance claims. I want a car mechanic to upgrade my car. I just don't want cars in The Sims 5 like we had cars in The Sims 3. What I really want to see is a level of detail that we have never had before in The Sims. Another thing people do bang on about a lot is open worlds. Now, I do really miss The Sims 3 open worlds, but at the end of the day, it's just not a viable option, especially in The Sims 4, where there are so many different worlds and we're likely going to have so many different worlds in The Sims 5. It can't all be open. What I really want is an open neighborhood system. Right now in The Sims 4, we have a closed neighborhood system. You can only access one lot at a time, plus the surrounding areas. I just want to be able to access every single lot in a specific area at a time, plus the community space around it. I feel like that's not too much to ask, and I feel like it will give you more incentive to actually visit your neighbors in The Sims, because in The Sims 4, we don't do that. In The Sims 4, you just kind of stay in your house and you don't leave your house because it's just way too much effort. So in The Sims 5, I really would love to see an actual community-based gameplay system, not just staying in your house for the entire time. I would also like to see Sims 3 AI when it came to open worlds. In The Sims 3, the AI is so cool. Like, if you click on any sim around the world, they'll all be doing something. They'll all be having their own routine. I love for Sims around me to actually be having routines. I hate how in The Sims 4, every time you go to community lot, random townies just show up for absolutely no reason. Like, I want people to actually have a reason to be where they are and not to just exist and perform animations for the sake of existing. I want them to actually have lives. And please, no celebrities like Judith Ward showing up everywhere, because that would be rather tragic. And also just random things like, you know, townies having parties now and again. In The Sims 3, you'll randomly get a pop-up from one of your Sims friends. Hey, I'm having a house party tomorrow. Do you want to come? And then you'll go to this random Sims house party. But in The Sims 4, we don't have that. You won't autonomously have neighbors having house party with people who are their friends. It just doesn't work like that. And it's a shame, because it just doesn't feel like The Sims 4 is alive or there's much going on. And I would like just for The Sims 5 not to just have a big open world, but primarily to just feel alive. And we do need to have open rabbit holes back. In The Sims 3, you know, we had rabbit hole supermarkets, rabbit hole schools, rabbit hole spas, whatever. I am not afraid of rabbit hole experiences if they integrated well into an open world system, so my Sim could just pop down to the local bakery and get some bread, or just pop down to the local supermarket and get a bit of food that you can choose for them to buy. That system works very well for me, much more realistic than The Sims 4, either buying food from the fridge or having to buy the cottage living expansion pack and buying random food things from a market stall. That's not it. We could do it better. The Sims 3 way was really good. The Sims 2 way also had actually going into a supermarket, like you'd actually go into it and buy things that way. That could also be nice too, but primarily I would just like a way of doing things that feels more alive and realistic. Simmers love mundane things. We love doing boring things like walking to the supermarket and buying food. Like, we genuinely love that. We love doing laundry. We love sending our Sims off to work. Like, we just love the mundane everyday things. That's why The Sims 1 was so popular back in the day. We love the mundane. Also, we need to have you to actually be able to start the game from the open world and not start the game from CAS. Every single Sims game, apart from The Sims 4, the save file is tied to the world that you live in. It is not tied to starting off in CAS and creating a brand new Sim every time. This whole Sims 4 thing of starting off in CAS is honestly ridiculous. This can never ever happen again, Sims team. If you're watching, it can't happen again. We need to just have a save from the actual world itself, please. In terms of DLC, I want no more pack isolation. No more you have to buy movie hangout stuff if you want to watch a movie. No more bowling alley, whatever stuff if you want to have bowling. It's not acceptable. It's cash grabby. If dishwashers are not DLC, then being able to do your own laundry does not have to be DLC either. I want to see less emphasis on packs and more emphasis on community creation. We've already seen in the alleged leaks of The Sims 5 that we may be getting like a Steam Workshop style system where people can put individual assets together and then people can download those as a whole thing. Like you can create a sofa by putting cushions on it, decorations on it, and then you can actually find that off some kind of gallery and then put that in your game. That's a much better way of going about it than just giving us endless DLC. And I don't want a freemium model. I don't want The Sims 5 to be free to play with different gems, and I don't want loads of different DLCs and battle passes. I know EA love their battle passes, but please, I don't want that for The Sims 5. And guys, we need base game weather. We need base game apartments. If The Sims 5 follows the exact same pack system of every other Sims game, people will hate it. I will be honest about that. You can't just do the exact same thing over and over again. It's not going to work out. And in general, just an emphasis on inclusive, not exclusive gameplay. The truth is, barely anybody enjoys downloading things off the Sims 4 gallery because the gallery is a mess. There are so many different packs now, it's almost impossible to download anything off the gallery that you can actually use because it contains so many different things from packs you don't own. Everybody uploads to the gallery, but nobody downloads from the gallery, and there is a reason for that. Less emphasis on pack exclusivity and exploiting different gameplay elements and isolating them out for different packs, and more emphasis on just an overall gameplay experience. In The Sims 4, we can't have hotels because hotels need restaurants, but you need dine out for that. And you can't have spas because we've got spa days, so you can't have that in a hotel. So we're never going to be able to get hotels in The Sims 4. But in previous Sims games, you could. In The Sims 5, I want to be able to also, without this annoying pack exclusivity thing, you only can have certain things if they belong in certain packs. It's disjointed. It makes absolutely no sense. In terms of cast, I actually want outfits to cost money. It makes no sense that your Sims can wear any single thing, any single time for absolutely no amount of money. I want different clothes shops to sell different kind of clothes. When you actually start off in cast, I want your immediate household funds for your outfits that you choose to have different price points and for the cost of them to be taken outside of your household funds. And if you want more clothes, you have to go to the clothes shop and not just plan an outfit from your wardrobe. Again, like with the supermarket shopping, Simmers love mundane things. I promise you, EA, Simmers love the idea of going to a clothes shop and buying clothes that way. And they love the idea of different clothes shops selling different things. I promise you, it will work out in your favor. Also, I want better randomly generated cast outfits because the ones we have in The Sims 4 are diabolical. And I want downloadable outfit presets. Like we know in The Sims 5, based on what we've seen so far, you're going to be able to put a load of different assets together in build mode and sell build assets like a custom sofa or something. I would like the same with cast as well. People making customized outfits and just being able to download like a full outfit. That would be really cool. Because in The Sims 4 right now, you can't do that. You can only download an entire sim. I want to download an outfit. In terms of the Sims themselves, firstly, I would like cleaned up wants and fears, likes and dislikes, traits, aspirations. These are all over the place in The Sims 4. One thing that Sims in The Sims 4 lack is personality and individuality, most importantly. However much they give us all likes and dislikes and things, it just doesn't give us personality. And I think that's primarily because everything in The Sims 4 is tied to mootlets and emotions. And I want less emphasis on emotional mootlets and more emphasis on having individual personalities. Having lots of different traits doesn't make your Sims individual if they all cause the same thing to happen, which is just to give your Sim an angry moodlet or a happy moodlet. That's not individuality because they all have the exact same consequence. I want different consequences. Also, I want age-specific differences. Teens to elders in The Sims 4 are basically the exact same thing, and they don't need to be the exact same thing. Like, they can look different and they can feel different. Having, age-specific personality traits and differences. Randomly generated outfits depending on the Sim's age. Teen Sims should just have mood swings in the base game. Young adult Sims, I want to see them ambitious, wanting to start careers and do things and have that emphasis on them, whereas older adults, I want them all to be having midlife crises, and I want them to be more oriented to having different lives, and elders doing different things depending on their age. I just feel like Sims in The Sims 4, they don't really have that much differences depending on their age, and I would like more age-specific gameplay and for EA to to really think about how they can make each life stage really distinct, other than just the way that they look. And of course, I want an attractiveness system back. There's no reason why we can't have one. And I want memories that impact gameplay, and more specifically, I want Sims to have better socials. I mean, in The Sims in general, we've only ever just had like a friendliness meter and a romance meter, but really it's so much more complicated than that. Even The Sims 2 actually had a system called a rage system where you could be angry with a sim, but it wouldn't necessarily affect your relationship with them. And that's so realistic because in real life, we all argue with friends and family, but then 5 minutes later, we get over it. In The Sims 4, if you argue with a sim, your relationship depletes completely, and it's just not realistic. People bicker and argue in real life, and like it doesn't affect your relationship in the long term. And I feel like we need to have more temporary social states, if you know what I mean. And I don't want those weird phone calls like we get in The Sims 4 from random people telling me they want to go out for dinner with me. I don't want a vampire inviting me on the beach in the middle of the day and time because it doesn't make sense. I don't want random townies knocking at my door. A lot of The Sims 4 social stuff doesn't make sense. And in The Sims 5, I do want a bigger emphasis on true, meaningful social interactions. And in general, just better sim AI. I want Sims to actually sleep all throughout the night, unless of course they are feeling restless for a specific reason. In The Sims 4, honestly, it's a nightmare. Like, you cannot get your Sims to sleep for the life of you. They will not sleep throughout the night. It's a nightmare. And I want actually realistically timed meals. It doesn't take 3 hours to eat like a bowl of soup. And I also want people to actually have family meals. And if you cook a family meal, I don't want Sims to autonomously grab a bowl of applesauce, whatever applesauce is, and just eat that when somebody else has already made a meal. Like, I actually want Sims to feel like the AI has given them a routine and they actually abide by this routine. Because I said before, Sims love routine. They love mundane things. And I want to be able to facilitate that in the game. And in terms of townies, we do need to have backstories like we had in The Sims 2. None of this, be yourself, be creative. That was my horrific impression of an American accent. But The Sims 4 branding is all like, be yourself, be creative, do what you want to do. I don't want to do what I want to do. I want it to tell me what to do. I want Sims stories. I like that they took progress with the scenarios. I want actual story progression and to have more kind of linear elements in the game. Sims team, don't be afraid of linear. Simmers are not afraid of it. Bring back Sims 2 linearity. I swear to God, we like it. Especially like with the Sims 4 scenarios right now, they're only specific to an individual household. But even then, when you start a scenario, first you must create your own individual sim. I'd love to be able to just work with a pre-made sim which already has its own personality, because in The Sims 4 we basically just make the exact same sim over and over again. I would like the ability to just have a sim. This is what the sim is and you can't change them. This is how they are, and they have their own little storyline that they want to play out. This brings more individuality to the game and makes it more interesting. And I want these storylines to play out between different households like they did in The Sims 4, changing the relationships, changing dynamics, even having them in a very specific order, maybe even being able to create your own. Who knows if feeling that ambitious. And I also want a normal mode. The Sims 4 right now has 2 modes, a sandbox mode and a challenge mode. Sandbox mode being the standard mode you play, and the challenge mode being the scenarios. In every other simulation game, there is a normal mode, sandbox mode, and a challenge mode. Normal mode being where you don't have cheats and you've actually got to like work towards things and it's a bit harder. I would love a normal mode in The Sims 4. Right now, we kind of refer to it as rags to riches, but I just want it to be more refined as an actual normal mode in the game. And I feel like it would give Simmers a challenge that they need. So some people who just like, you know, motherload cheating everything, you can go in sandbox mode, but other Simmers, we want more challenge in our gameplay and more depth. Therefore, a normal mode would be great. I would also like to see open careers as standard. I don't know why we have to have an open career pack like Get to Work if we want open careers. Simmers really do love open careers and don't really like the rabbit hole ones. So I personally think it would make a lot more sense to have these more open careers. In the more later Sims packs, there's more open elements to the closed careers, and I feel like that's a very good system, and I feel like that would work very, very well in terms of The Sims 5 too. And you know what? Maybe this is pushing it, but I want customized for events and festivals in the game. Most other simulation games that people play, usually the more cozy crazy ones. You have festivals, for example, like in Stardew Valley. With me saying before that I want more of an emphasis on community gameplay rather than just being stuck in your household, I'd love the ability to have more community events in the game. I just think it would make it a lot more dynamic and feed into this thing that Simmers want, a more open gameplay experience. In terms of an art style, guys, I just want the Sims 2 art style back. The Sims 1 was a pixelated polymer mess. The Sims 3, they all look like potatoes. The Sims 4, it's too cartoony and goofy and childish. The Sims 2 was the best. It was cartoony, but it wasn't too realistic. It wasn't Maxis Match, it was an alpha. It was somewhere in between, and it worked for everybody, and I feel like it could work for The Sims 5 too. I don't want it to look like GTA, like we don't need that, and it doesn't need to look goofy and childish, like it needs an in-between. I feel like most people can agree on that. And I do think we need justice for console players too. They do always get left out. Console players do make up a massive portion of Sims 4 players. The truth is, most people don't have the room expertise or money to be able to facilitate buying a gaming PC. Most gamers these days do have consoles, and it makes a lot of sense that EA put more focus on consoles. To be honest, it does need to happen as a business move for them, not just for the ease of access for players too. And you know what I also really want now? This this is a real big push. This is a push, but I would like the game to be full and complete upon release. I know that is a push. In terms of modern video gaming standards, it is extremely rare that a video game is full and complete on release and doesn't get a million updates. But I would really appreciate that about Sims 5. I don't want a Sims 4 travesty again when we didn't have ghosts on release, we didn't have toddlers, we didn't have dishwashers, we didn't have bloody whatever. We didn't have anything in the Sims 4 in release. They're still even adding loads of base game updates now. 8 years on, they still haven't actually completed the base game yet. Like, the Sims 4 is still technically in bloody beta. And it would always be in beta. I would love The Sims 5 to just be a full, complete game on release. I want everything there. I want no updates. I want no bug and glitch fixes. I just want it all to be sorted upon release. Is that too much to ask? Yes, it is to modern video gaming standards. Do you know what? Not every single video game is like it. Do you know what? Elden Ring, I know that game is literally a far cry from The Sims 4, completely different. But do you know what? That game has no bugs and glitches, has no DLC, and it works and is full and complete on release. There's no reason why other video game developers can't do it. And you know what I just really want above everything else is for The Sims 5 to just do something different. Every single Sims game has been the exact same cash grabbing nightmare that's always ended badly. There's no reason why it can't be good and it can't be completely different. Change up the formula. Do you know what? When Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was first announced, everybody was like, oh my god, this isn't Legend of Zelda, this is completely different, what is this, blah blah blah. Then everybody played it and they're like, oh my god, this is one of the best games of all time. That's because they were brave enough to try something different. EA can try something different. They don't have to continue on with the same old exploitive cash grabby DLC model. They don't have to continue on doing every single thing the same. They don't have to listen to every single Simmer's wants and needs about what they want in the game, unless it's mine, of course. I just think they need to be brave. Go do something different and bold. Not everyone's gonna like it, but when they play it, they'll get used to it and they will like it. Be different. In a world where everything is the same and everyone and everything is an NPC, do something a bit different. That's what I'd like to see. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this video here. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.